Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell will join us in studio. Also tonight, an Arizona Republic report on the growing homeless population in the valley. And we'll look at how the Child's Play Theater campus in Tempe is working to recover from storm damages. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell joins us each month to address issues that she and her office are focused on. And tonight, we'll touch on a law that is intended to prohibit the hindering of First Amendment rights and another state law that requires that weapons seized by law enforcement be sold to the public. We welcome Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell to Arizona Horizon. Good to see you again. Thanks.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All right. I know that this is in litigation, so I know there's only certain things that you can say about it. But this anti-SLAPP law that you've got problems with, can you tell us as much as you can your problems and what this case is all about?
Sure. Basically, this surrounds the incidents where there were pro-Palestinian protesters at ASU, and some of them are being prosecuted, so they have invoked this law. Our concern with the law is it's unique to prosecutors in this state. It's not applied to other, in other states to prosecutors. And our concern is not about the First Amendment as it's being portrayed. It's really about a separation of powers issue where you have the judiciary delving into the mindset, motivations, et cetera, of the executive branch, which is the prosecutor.
So the judges can say that the case is dismissed, you say, over your objections, over your thoughts, your plans?
If they can look at it and determine whether there is, political motivation. And, this is an area that our office has been involved in the past with the protest cases from 2020. And that was a situation where I, as a prosecutor, before I was county attorney, actually raised concerns about the way those cases were being handled. So to suggest that this is being done for political motivation is, not true.
And the violation of the Bill of Rights, First Amendment?
We fully support people's ability to protest legally within Arizona, and I have reaffirmed that message different times throughout my tenure as county attorney.
Okay, and I know you can't respond too much to what the Tempe Justice Court basically said, was that the charges were substantially motivated by a wish to suppress or retaliate. That is what the law is all about, to keep prosecution from happening to those who are protesting in the ways that maybe the prosecution doesn't like it. Make any sense to you?
Not in this particular case. I mean, as a prosecutor, I abhor it when other prosecutors say, I'm going to guarantee this result or target this person. I don't do that as a prosecutor. I call balls and I call strikes as a prosecutor. I file against people who you would think I would have an affinity for. I file against them that I maybe don't agree with them.
Last question on this. You might have to testify.
That's true.
Yeah, it seems unusual, a prosecutor, a county attorney testifying.
First in the nation, is my understanding, in this type of situation.
All right. Do we have a timetable for this at all? Do we know when this is?
We are in front of a Superior Court judge, and the next hearing that he's going to hold is not this Friday, but next Friday, the November 7th.
Okay, so things are happening there. Another state law that you're concerned with is this 2013, it's been that long now, the state law, it's the ban on destroying weapons that are used in crimes seized by law enforcement. Not only a ban on destroying them, but they must be resold to the public. Talk to us about why you think this needs to be reconsidered.
Well, I'm very pro Second Amendment rights, but there's a very specific situation that's come up that probably was never considered when this statute was passed back in 2013. And that is the case of Officer Erfle. He was killed in the line of duty. He was shot. And this gun, of course, was seized as part of that investigation. And Julie Erfle, his widow, has said, I don't want the gun that killed my husband back out in the public, sold in the public. And so in this situation, I've offered my services as county attorney to her and said, I'll stand beside you to get an exception written into this law.
What under the claim would be what?
The claim would be if a gun is used to murder someone or possibly harm someone if they're shot with it, that would be an exception if the victim or next of kin wanted that gun destroyed.
I was going to say, the Victims' Bill of Rights provisions play it here?
Yes, absolutely. I think that would come into play. I mean, if you can imagine a loved one being killed by a gun and then that gun just being sold, I mean, that's just a travesty as far as I'm concerned.
And we should mention that the Officer Erfele was shot in 2007 now, so long ago. And Julie Erfele has been out there time and time again campaigning for various gun control issues. Is this the kind of thing that you're going to go strong on?
On this particular exception, yes. I support her not wanting the gun that killed her husband sold out in the public. That gun should be destroyed.
Is there a way to, so basically delineate murder, delineate?
Possibly murder. We're talking to the legislature already about whether we're going to carve out an exception for simply murder, possibly if an individual is injured by the gun, making it a victim's rights issue. This wouldn't be for any gun seized as the result of a criminal investigation.
Right. Okay. All right. Before you go, update on the Preston Lord case. What's happening here as far as prosecution, as far as trials are concerned, as far as the law that was passed because of the Preston Lord case and prosecution thereof?
Well, as you know, we indicted 7 individuals for the death of Preston Lord. One of them has pled out. The other 6 are pending trial. That trial is at least tentatively set for January. That may get continued. But Preston Lord's law, which targets people who gang up on an individual, so if 3 or more people target an individual for a beating, that is called anti-swarming legislation. It makes it a felony. We have now charged at least 4 cases of that ever since the law went into effect, and that was only September 26th. So we're not even, we're just about a month into that, and we have 4 cases so far that we've charged.
And you've charged these 4 cases. If that law were not in effect, what would these be, misdemeanors? What would happen here?
That's possible. There could be other felonies involved, but there was one in Mesa involving adult defendants, and the prosecutor said that had this law not existed, that case would have gone to city court for misdemeanor prosecution. And as I said at the time we were going for the law, that just does not reflect the seriousness of this behavior. Obviously, Preston died.
As for the half dozen people that will be on trial for that murder, and everything that has happened beforehand and since, you mentioned one pled out, but everything so far, is it going the way you expected? Is it going the way that meets your satisfaction?
Yes, I mean, we knew this was going to be a lengthy process. As you recall, we took a while to put the case together, you know, the investigation and then just the prosecutors before we filed charges. This is complex. Whenever you have 7 defendants, whenever you have multiple witnesses and you're trying to get people to cooperate and talk about what they saw, you have video, that's going to take a while. And so it's not surprising me that it's taking this long.
Last question on that. It's the cooperation from local law enforcement out in Gilbert and East Valley. Are you seeing what you want to see? Have you seen what you wanted to see?
Yeah, I mean, this was a Queen Creek homicide, and of course they did a great job on the investigation. But Gilbert, too, we have had meetings with them to talk about the ongoing situations involving juveniles, and they've been receptive and open to that. So, you know, we're trying to move forward so that people can feel safe in their communities. You know, I grew up here, and I mean, to think of Gilbert as a place where people aren't feeling safe, that's just unbelievable to me.
Are you hearing that people feel a little bit more safe? I mean, are the Gilbert goons still a thing out there?
I think there's still gang-type behavior out there, and by gang types, I mean, you know, groups of juveniles that are engaged in bad behavior. The public should know that we are aware of it. We're working with the police to address it. But parents also should know that we're taking this very seriously. And if their kid is involved in this type of behavior, it would be best for them to intervene as parents before the law has to intervene.
Rachel Mitchell, Maricopa County Attorney, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
From Montana comes an extraordinary feat of filmmaking. Over 10 years, remote cameras recorded a tapestry of creatures. The star is a remarkable mountain lion raising 6 cubs on her own. This is Willow.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Devastating flash floods are becoming more common. What can we do to prevent disaster?
When we have a good flood forecasting and warning system, lives are saved.
Super floods on Nova.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
One of the most fatal pandemics in human history.
It almost killed the entire Eurasian population.
Now, an obscure collection of headstones may hold the key to identifying Patient Zero, chasing the plague on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Gentlemen, come with me.
If you know anything, tell me.
Ready? Well, then we best get started.
This is way over my head.
You're playing a dangerous game, boss.
Where does this end?
I don't know.
It's gonna be a busy night.
This is only the start.
A new Arizona Republic investigation looks at the issue of homelessness in Phoenix 2 years after the city's closing of a downtown homeless encampment known as The Zone. Joining us now is Republic and azcentral.com reporter Helen Rummel, and also from the Republic and azcentral.com reporter Catherine Rager. Good to have you both here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Helen, we're going to start with you. Explain this project, why it was taken on, what was the thinking beforehand?
So we had started this project a while ago. It had been several months prior to publication when we started planning what we wanted to look at, which was how has homelessness progressed in Phoenix and the surrounding suburbs since the zone was cleared out 2 years ago. And we wanted to look at what that meant across the board. So homelessness takes many different forms in our city, and it affects people both who are living in the street, who are living in cars, shelters, and those who are living in homes around them. And so we just started from there and then continued.
And it sounds like, Catherine, at least a third of those who lived in the zone, they're still unhoused.
Yeah. It's really, and you know, the thing is this was a part I played in it because, you know, I've covered this for a while. The apathy about the problem is just shocks me. It breaks my heart. And housing experts, you know, Tom Simplot, the former head of the housing department, city councilman, Sheila Harris, they say it, they feel it, you know.
Why do they think the public attitudes are shifting?
Well, you know, we tried to figure that out and talk to different people, but, you know, I think it's people get a little, I don't know, burned out. They have other problems on their mind. You know, we don't have the money to address it that we did. But when I talk to people who, you know, maybe aren't in downtown often, and they're like, I don't know, I'm like, we work in downtown. I live in Central Phoenix. It's everywhere, and it's worse.
Helen, did you get a feeling that for those who are, you know, worried about the problem, have dealt with the problem for years, that there's a bit of exhaustion going on?
I think what our colleagues and I found was that there maybe is this sense that there aren't easy solutions. And I think when it's difficult to pinpoint easy, simple solutions, it can sometimes feel like things are hopeless. And that's not necessarily the case. But as Phoenix has continued to see the growing population of homelessness, it can be difficult to see a way forward, especially when, like Catherine said, more people are facing this issue head on, even when they weren't in years past.
Why the increase? What's going on out there?
So several reasons can explain that. Partially it is just due to the cost of living increases. Rent prices have increased across the county. We also saw over this past year in Maricopa County, more than 1,000 shelter beds were lost over this past year due to the loss of COVID funding that we saw over just since the pandemic. And so those things combined with all of these factors that contribute to homelessness.
And things like, from your story, illness, being abandoned by family members, these sorts of things, they play a factor as well?
Yes, and you know, another tragic point is the growth in senior homelessness. You know, and trying to keep up with that. And we also see it because, you know, I cover housing. I noticed this huge drop in home prices in a neighborhood in Central Phoenix where FQ Story and they're located. And I went and talked to a bunch of the neighbors, and it's because the zone has spread out.
Oh my goodness.
Because these people need, you know, a place to go, and they're not in shelters. And those neighborhoods are now, they're sympathetic and they want to help, but then there's also safety issues, and when it's cold and they're building fires. And so the fact that it's impacting home values.
Catherine mentioned, you know, we're seeing older folks, increasingly seeing older folks, but do those in the parks, those in the streets, in the alleys, do they have a similar story? Is there, Or is every story, I mean, we'd like to think every individual is different, but are there similarities here?
I mean, yeah, you raise a great point that there are so many differences, and my colleagues and I tried very hard to lay out what those look like across groups of people. They're very different, and each person, like you said, is an individual story. But some of the trends that we're seeing is an uptick, particularly of younger adults that we're seeing who are becoming homeless. Like Catherine mentioned, older adults are becoming homeless at a much faster rate, and also for the first time for many of these folks who are seniors, who have never faced housing insecurity before, facing it for the first time over the age of 65 is a particular trend that we've noticed.
Go ahead, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say, so, Social Security hasn't kept up with rent increases, and so you see these people who their cost of living, they can't afford it. And I see them, on the corner asking, for money, and it's like, I met an 80-year-old woman out there, she goes, I can't pay my rent, my rent isn't coming, and it's like, where do they get help?
Okay, good question. Where do they get help? Is there temporary housing? We've done so many shows with so many nonprofits and city organizations and county organizations. They provide beds, they provide housing. It's out there. Is there not enough? Are they not being used? What's happening?
Well, a lot of them have waiting lists, extensive waiting lists.
So they are being used?
Yeah.
Yes.
Extensive waiting lists, and you'll talk to people, and we have some of the stories like, I've been waiting 3 months to get in somewhere. And, and somebody else with children, we need a place for children. I've been waiting 6 months. And they're on the streets and tell that, and I think really great people are working really hard on this. And we felt like we're maybe because the count was down the year before. And so people thought, oh, this is getting better. But it's not.
The impact of urban camping laws, the severity of those, that they've increased. Again, it's part of that shifting public attitude. These urban camping laws, how's that affecting the numbers and what you saw and heard?
So what we were hearing from folks is, like you said, there is more enforcement, particularly in the area that was the subject of the Zone lawsuit from years past, where folks are being criminalized in some cases, and they are receiving tickets for sleeping in certain areas and for blocking sidewalks. And so that can make it more difficult for people to find services because of the way that some of these enforcements are coming down on them. The city has made it very clear, both in Phoenix and other municipalities have made it clear that they have attempted to offer with services first, as opposed to trying to come in and policing them in a more aggressive manner. But what we are hearing from folks is that is not always stopping them from facing repercussions for just sleeping outside.
So what are the most effective, we got about a minute or so left here, what are the most effective mitigation efforts?
Oh, that's tough. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So what we have seen is that housing first policies, when we talk to experts, housing first policies are shown time and time again to be the most effective and also sometimes the most cost efficient ways for municipalities to approach this issue. And that doesn't necessarily mean that people are only offered housing and no other services. That means that they get support in a variety of ways while also getting that housing. But we are also seeing that federal policy is moving away from housing first policies, which is really one of the most concerning trends that we've noticed, is that going forward, that is not seeing the same support that it was before.
And real quickly, affordable housing losing steam at city halls around the valley?
Yes, a bit. The NIMBYism is strong, and people have this perception that it's like the Section 8 housing of the 60s and 70s, and it's not. You get a voucher, and some of these complexes are so nice and really great, and that's getting people in housing they can afford.
All right, Catherine Rager, Helen Rummel, congratulations. A great project, great investigative work there. We appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
The Child's Play Theater campus is working to recover from storm damages after the recent microburst that hit Tempe. The theater's offices and rehearsal spaces were significantly damaged to the point that the theater, for temporary time, had to stop its operations. Steve Martin is managing director of Child's Play, and he joins us with more on this. Steve, thanks for joining us. You did have to stop for a little bit, but you're back up and operational now?
Right. We lost electricity. We lost all of the power to our communications. So once we got that all back up again and running, it was fine. There was really just a portion, a wing of our campus that got damaged.
Talk to us about Child's Play for those who aren't familiar with the organization. Who are you?
Child's Play's been around for 50 years. We are a professional theater company that chooses to perform for children, school children, families, young audiences. We produce about 5 or 6 shows a year. We perform at the Herberger Theater Center, but we also take shows out into the schools. And we do more than 100 performances a year in schools around the valley and around the state. Then we also have a huge education program, and included in that is our campus and our academy program. And those are the programs that had to be suspended and moved because of the storm.
Talk to us about the damage. How much damage? What kind of damage?
Well, we had because we'd had several storms in the valley over the past several weeks, we experienced a little bit of roof damage the week prior to. So we actually had roofers up on the roof repairing that little bit of damage when this storm hit. And it just ripped off the rest of the roof, poured down rain into our classrooms. The ceilings fell. The floors got flooded. We have a sprung floor, as you can see here, and that whole floor got destroyed and has to be replaced. The men's room is completely destroyed, and it was all because of water damage.
Now, are you able to use whatever was done in this part of the building, the complex? Can you do that in other locations? Are people allowing you to do that in other locations?
Actually, the Tempe Elementary School District has been very generous and has allowed us to rent classroom space from them on Saturdays. And that's when we offer our classes to the general public during the school year. On Saturdays.
The damage is just terrible. Okay, so and obviously surrounding area, trees, vehicles, the whole 9 yards.
It was a devastating storm. I have to say, I've been a managing director for a long time. Microbursts are not in the guidebook.
I was going to No, and they happen, and then they're over, and you go, "What the heck just happened?"
We do now.
No injuries.
No injuries. The roofers actually escaped unscathed.
Okay, this all comes after, if I remember correctly, there was a loss of funding as well. What was that all about?
Right. It's been a challenging time for the arts. Period. In the valley, many institutions that do support the arts on a regular basis have actually been withholding their funds because they don't know the full impact of Trump administration cuts to social service and essential services. And so a lot of the funds that we were counting on have now been withheld by those foundations and corporations because they want to be able to address immediate needs in our community. I can't complain about that, but it really does affect us in our ability to do our work.
These are NEA grants?
No, those were just grants from foundations and local governments and corporations. But then we had our National Endowment for the Arts grant withdrawn, which we had been awarded, and then we got a letter saying, sorry, we're not going to give you this money.
Is there any chance of that money, that particular money, being reallocated?
No, we appealed the decision, and the appeal was not honored. So we will not receive those funds this year.
So all told, how much of a financial hit are you guys looking at?
Well, I have to say, post-pandemic, the recovery for performing arts organizations in particular has been very slow. Public audiences have been slow to come back. I have to say, we depend a lot on school participation. They have come back in droves. We sell out all of our school performance, 7 performances a week for 3 or 4 weeks, and we sell them out, 700 seats a performance. It's huge for us. But we can't balance our budget on $15 tickets to school groups. So we have to depend on contributions from the community to help us be able to perform and present high-quality work to the young people and families in our community.
With that in mind, what's next for Child's Play?
Oh, we're in rehearsal for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Is that the Christmas pat? Yeah.
That's our Christmas show. We actually go up in 2 weeks. We start performing, and that's because of the demand from schools. But I have to say, in this world of chaos, that we're all kind of living in. It's really wonderful to sit down in the theater with such a great story, with such a great message, and experience the joy of the holidays. And so we invite people, this is the best way that you can help us. Come to the theater, buy a ticket, enjoy the show. It's really quite stunning and beautiful.
I mean, Child's Play for a Christmas production, that's kind of hard to beat if you want the Christmas spirit out of it.
This is our 5th year of doing this show.
Yeah.
The community has embraced it greatly, so yes.
Well, best of luck to you and your facilities there. I know it probably won't take anywhere near as quickly as you want it to take, but it will get done, and you will always be there because you've always been there. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.